Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome. You are watching On the Town. Thank you for coming back another week and checking us out. We really appreciate you. So this week's guest, he is a multi-creative artist. He is a coach, and he has written at least 4 or 5 books that you need to check out. He has said in his writings that dyslexia can snuff out dreams at an early age as children lose their ways in school, then lose their self esteem and drive. Please welcome Michael Magratsche. Did I
Yeah,
say that right?
Magratsche. Yeah, Michael Magratsche. Yeah.
Magratsche, thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We appreciate you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tanya. Thank you. Uh,
Thank you so much
let's
for joining.
let's step in right away. Full blast.
Full blast.
Education, right? Education,
Yeah.
right? You are from education. I'm from education, and pretty much wherever you hear any politicians or any educators talk, everybody has a feeling there's something wrong with education, but nobody actually wants to change it
Mhm.
or wants to ask the essential question: what is education today, the function? Everybody
Mhm.
sees the form. Okay, we have eaten, we have in the cities we have the dangerous education in the city with where they have metal detectors and all this stuff. Everybody knows that education is there's something off, but
Mhm.
nobody asks the question. And I was talking for the last 3 years about I was a guest on 450 podcasts all over the world,
Yes.
and everybody has the same opinion. On the education podcast, I ask, what is the function of education today? Because we have number one, co-ed, which we
Mhm.
didn't have in 1845 when the education really started.
Right.
As a Prussian, having boys, getting boys, and promoting them for the Persian War.
Right.
It was that was education then. Uh, we now have computers, we have co-ed, we have AI, and our
Mhm.
collective consciousness has grown tremendously, right?
Right.
We
Right.
now know women are not stupider than men and not lower than men. Actually, women are smarter in a lot of way of men because they have a better muscle, emotional muscle to
Right.
survive and survive. And so we grew tremendously in that time. So I half a year ago or a year ago, it came to me. I said, we have to redefine the function of
Mhm.
what's supposed to be education today.
Right.
What is the function, not the form? What is the function? Because we always change the form. Oh, let's have him in smaller groups, have him in
Right.
bigger groups. That's
Right.
not what should education do today
Mhm.
while we have co-ed, while we have computers, while we have AI, and while we have grown so much from a war uh, conditioning for the Persian War. I was
Mhm.
in the Roman and Greek times too. They took the kids and trained them,
Right.
and then out of that came the in 1845 the thing. So what is the function? And every educator I talked to couldn't answer it. So I have I have a funny. It's a lot of traffic here. Whoops.
Yes, I hear
Whoops.
it. My ADHD is kicking in.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay. It's all
No,
right.
so what the thing is, um, the people I talk to, I have three women that I talk to,
Mhm.
educators,
Mhm.
and we keep uh, really our heads around wrapping. So, what is the new function, the current function of education? What can it be that people actually say, yes, I agree. That's what education should be.
Right.
Because education is currently neither a system relevant thing. So when you're done with Harvard, that you get a
Mhm.
job right away and you
Right.
make money, and so that's not the fact.
No.
And then it's not human centric either. So it doesn't teach you once you get out what you're going to do when you marry a woman, what do
No.
you do when you have to file a lawsuit. So it's not human centric either.
No.
So what is education? It seems like it is a time period
Mhm.
that is its own metaverse where you just, okay, I'm going to go do my college. I don't know what I want to be. who I want to be, and you just do that. And
Yeah,
you
because
just
I don't think they foster the creativity part of your individualism. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, the individualism, yeah, the one-on-oneness,
Yeah.
because it's cheaper. I mean, it's cheaper to generalize and says all women need to have this education, all
Right.
men have to have this education. Oh,
Right.
and there's dyslexic people; they have to have this education. It
Yes.
is
The
it
labels.
is it's basically a waste of time because
Yeah.
it's so outdated, the education,
Yes.
and that's what we all feel. The educators feel that, but I
Yeah.
think we were conditioned for so long.
Mhm.
I mean, for generations, since 1845. Think about that. We were conditioned so that we just accepted that's how it is.
Well, who started the education system is more of the question. And if you look at that, then you'll understand why it is exactly the way it is.
Yeah, but we didn't change it. The thing is, when you invent plastic, then all of a sudden you have a plastic bag.
Mm-hmm.
But and things change. When you
Right.
create a car, all of a sudden things change. People get rid of the horses and use cars.
Mm-hmm.
But education is always the same, and it's like that metaverse where which people just jump around. And
Right.
it's very interesting that these women that I'm looking for are all like, I'm from Austria
Yes.
and live in America. uh, Sumi Lin is Korean, and she is in Silicon Valley and does an
Oh.
company for education.
Mm-hmm.
Kimberly Grain is a Canadian that moved to Serbia,
Mm-hmm.
and she had an independent school,
Mm-hmm.
and she does star students does uh, homeschooling, gives you
Wow.
all the thing of thing homeschooling. And
Mm.
I have my favorite, my my closest one, because I'm doing a weekly podcast with her, Michaell, who is
Mm-hmm.
from the Wisdom Seekers, and she's an educator too. So this all education, and we
Wow.
really try to file out what is the new form of, what should be the new form of education in general, and then everybody can do their. I'm not saying what you should teach them. I'm
Right.
just saying what is the function, and then you say the best way that I get the function is through art, the best
Right.
is through technology, through you know uh, through codependency or whatever you feel like.
Right. Well, some people, I mean, and I'm one of those, I feel like Austin here, education hasn't really
Absolutely, Austin.
evolved. Yeah, you are on point, Austin. And I just, again, it goes back to the same thing. And nobody ever looks this up, but
Yeah,
who created this education system? And it's not a shame. It's just a
yeah,
thing.
it is what it is. Yeah,
If you don't know that, then you can't even answer none of the other questions. So go back,
yeah,
do your research, find out who created education. Why was schooling created? Not just to get parents to go to work and have a thing to do, because they weren't working back then, if you remember.
yeah.
But well, moms wasn't. But look at that, and then you understand that it is not meant originally to make you bring out your creative self and find out your greatest gift on
No,
earth, the best person. That's not what it's made for. It's
no,
made to
no.
make you think a certain way, do a certain way, and be a certain way, so that the billionaires can make their certain amount of money, because they know they're only going to pay you so
And
much
war,
based on your degree.
and war,
Yeah,
Tanya. It's
and
the
more.
war. It's
Yes.
it's in the 1850. It was just boys. Why weren't there women? There were no women. There was
Yes, that's
just
right.
boys
That's
that got
right.
sorted out for the army. It's very generalized. Oh, we need some soldiers. That the first one. We need some cavalry. We need some horse people that are good with horses. And so that was it, and it was very generalized,
Right.
and the individual didn't count at all. It's got about winning the war. The
Mm.
individual didn't count, and
Mm.
that's still today. And today is also what prevents it from growing to
Mm.
bringing the 101 out, because we know by nature we are all 101,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Our scientifically, our DNA, you are not like every African American woman.
Right.
You are, or I'm like I'm not like
I'm definitely
every.
not like any other woman.
And no, you are 101. I would never. I've never met a woman like you, and you have never met a man like me, and that's what is so such an honor to meet somebody, a one of 8 billion people,
Yes.
and
Wow.
see the one of 8 billion people, and that's why we are all part of nature. We are
Mm.
not segregated from nature.
No.
And we are all interconnected, which we are all interconnected.
Right.
Which from education. When there's some ruckus going on, it's very hard to calm that down or whatever, because we are all interconnected. We all
We are.
it's a mycelium, right?
Yes. Yes. So, what do you think happens with like? I would like for you to share your piece on dyslexia and how when you discovered you had it and how it was able to incorporate into your life and finding your true self and your true gift and and saying, wait, there's nothing wrong with me after all. Wait a minute, this is a
No,
gift.
that took 50 years, my dear. That took
Oh
50
God,
years
50
that I
years.
saw there was no, and it's really a shame stuff, because you're not good enough. So I have 6 years of school,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to repeat 2 that I got the 6, because
Right.
in Europe you have to repeat the class. You cannot just move on.
Oh,
And then I couldn't read. I stuttered. I couldn't I comprehended it, but I couldn't regurgitate. So
mm,
one thing for me is, if I would have prepared for this interview,
mm,
it would be dead. We would have air. Nothing. I have to be in the moment
right. Okay.
to actually function.
Okay.
And it was my whole life I tried to work with systems,
Mm-hmm.
but this conditioned me tremendously about the human centricity, where I say human centricity is we are all one, and
Yes.
we are all one on one, and we uh, are what I say. It's non-linear. It's not.
Right.
It's also linear,
Yeah.
because in systems we talk in linear, but
Right.
we are non-linear. We are natural. We are
Yeah.
natural. So, and like nature,
Yes.
and that taught me that. So I have a perspective. I can look at every system right now, and
Mm-hmm.
can look at the system and say, oh, that's not human centric. That is not uh, good. So if you want to help certain people,
Mm-hmm.
you got to have it human centric. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to sell a product, okay, do sell a product. But if you're like, say, you're for housing, you are for school, the
Mm-hmm.
human centric jobs, Medicare,
Mm-hmm.
when you
Hello. Your sound just came off.
have
Hello. Oh, that was your sound. Your sound just went off.
one,
Sorry, guys. Repeat that
yeah,
again. Your sound just went off.
yeah,
Repeat
oh,
the job part.
so when you go to a human centric job,
Mhm.
like healthcare, senior citizen,
Okay.
education,
Okay.
whatever, you have to look at the one of one. You cannot generalize, because
Mm,
not all women want to have the same care. Not
right.
all men want to have the same home.
Yes.
Some people want like in a home. Some
Yeah.
people have their own room. Some people need a house. So
Right.
everybody is a one of one,
That's good.
and this I can see now,
Mhm.
and we with my partners we you know. Talk about this all the time, so to find out how can we teach the kids today,
Right.
because the kids are sadly like animals,
Well,
like pets.
yeah.
Pets are used to let go all your anger and your frustration from the parents,
Mhm.
and since life becomes more busy and stressful, the
Mhm.
kids have to take all that stuff, and the
Right.
kids have such a hard time to find themselves. So they it forces them. So when you be really nasty to your kid and you shame your kid,
Mhm.
then the kid will go automatically
Mm.
into try to be a part of, like the adolescent, when
Compensate another way. Mhm.
yeah, I need to belong to something,
Yes,
because
that's what.
that's a natural DNA feeling of.
Yes. Well, we're animal species, and we all have to.
Exactly. We're social
Yeah.
collective creator species. We are
Right.
collective creator species.
Right. And everybody has a need to belong. And if
Yeah,
they don't, they usually will, very few will come and become hermits, but the rest will latch on to things that they shouldn't be in. And that's how you get people going to the prison
exactly.
line, like we were
Exactly.
talking about earlier. Mention that part that you talked about. I went off subject a little bit, but mention the part you talk about jail, the people that are in jail.
Oh, the highest quantity, and ADHD. Nobody talks about really dyslexia. Everybody talks about ADHD,
Mhm.
which is a form of the neurodiversity on the spectrum.
Right.
And the most people with these, because they can't focus, they don't know their one-on-oneness. They try to belong everywhere and see everything. And the highest quantity of humans you have in as artists or in jail, because they can't figure out the system relevance, the generalization. I have to be like every man. They can't figure that out. So what is being like every man? You can never get the right answer. What is it
Right.
like to be every woman? What is
Right.
it to be successful? There is no such thing, because we're all one-on-one.
Right.
Scientifically, we are, our DNA is all different. Look at your own family.
Right.
Your own family, everybody doesn't like Michael Jackson or Barry Manilow. They don't like the same people.
Thing. Right.
They like the different movie. Also, otherwise, everybody would fall in love with the same woman or the same man.
Right. That
We,
would be a problem.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I want him. I want him.
yeah, no, it's a synergistic fit. That's why if we cannot do a play in education,
Hmm.
and so we have a rough outline of education that is for humans and
Hmm.
systems that would make us good in both. So to have a group sport,
Right.
a group like a theater, group art,
Yes, that's what I used to do with the kids.
and have a pet, because you need to interact with another living being. Doesn't matter if it's a goldfish.
Right.
And then awareness, where you discuss what you experience. Let's say everybody has to do everything. So the artists have to do sports, the sports have to do art.
Right.
So and it's not a pressure or so if it's an artist said, oh, I don't want to catch, be rugby. I don't want to kill everybody in rugby. They said, no, you can do the dresses, you can do the water, you can be a referee as the artist.
Right.
And versus we have a quarterback that has to sit down and play a 67-year-old woman crocheting.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, and the awareness of that, and that's where we are. We are like the preschooling before you actually get into the regular school right
Yes.
now.
Yes.
So to have the first grade or second grade where you just have that interaction, co-ed,
Yes.
and
Right. Role
and
play
the
is very
masculinity is the team sports, the femininity is the art,
right.
uh, and then the interaction between living beings is with a pet, with some pet, whatever you need.
Mhm. Mhm.
If it's a worm, I don't care. It's just I
Right.
need that.
It doesn't matter. It's the
And then
concept.
the awareness, where and in the awareness thing, we can coach kids that there is no wrong. We can actually focus them on the one-on-oneness and say, okay, you were angry at that worm. Okay, that's okay that you're angry at that worm.
Mhm.
It's not like, oh, how can you be angry at that worm? No, there's no right answer. There's no, that's your interaction with things. And so
Right. You
that's where we
you
are
sort of
now.
foster, yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like you're fostering how do I call it? Original creativity and problem solving.
yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
And also the one-on-oneness, so that you get in touch and says, I cannot put, why would I have also to discuss that? Why would I have an intent to tell this person what to do? Because it's another boy and I tell the other boy what to do.
Mhm.
If the boy asks me, yes. If the boy wants to learn anything and we dance with each other, yes. But why do I want to tell the person what's right? There is no right or wrong
Right.
in nature, because
Right.
nature is just, it's just, you know,
Yeah.
working.
Yeah, I always felt like in school, like I was stifled. I had a couple of teachers that stood out for me. Mrs. Spinari, she was amazing. She knew that I was a little different, a
Yeah,
lot of different, and she encouraged and inspired me. Mr. Masters, my coach and teacher, but he also was like, "All right, fine. You don't want to read this. Read what do you want to read?" And I was like, "I want to read
exactly.
James Baldwin." And he's like,
Exactly.
okay, as long as you give me a report, go for it. So
Yeah.
it was not on the curriculum at that time, but he was open, and Miss Finari was, oh man, that woman was amazing. She was, I never knew I even had an issue. I'm a visual learner. I didn't know
Yeah.
what that was. I had no, and now that
Yeah.
I've studied education, I've studied all that stuff, I know now. But when you're like 7 years old, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
You have no clue what you're just like, I don't fit in. And I played sports. I was popular, as they say, for sports, but I
Yeah.
knew I wasn't liked because I didn't do what everybody else did. And I don't know why. I just never liked doing what everybody else does. It would really, I go left on everything.
Yeah.
I don't think like other people. They're
You're
like,
one
oh,
of one. How can you? How can you think like other people? You're one of 8 billion people. Okay. How
true.
can you be like other? And by the way, I did some research. I talked to quarterbacks. I talked to cheerleaders. I talked to the best in school.
Uh-huh.
Think nobody fits in. Nobody thinks they belong. I've
Okay.
never seen a human that thinks they belong in this class. They belong in the position that they have in the system. Never ever.
We'll talk
So
to a Karen might. I'm joking. Sorry.
yeah,
That's the comedian side of me.
yeah.
Sorry. It's not funny, but I just had to say there is one type who I've seen say they fit in anywhere no matter what happens. But yeah, I love your papers you did. Guys, if you want to check out something very interesting, um, uh, Michaell did some papers on dyslexia and the effects it has. I think there's three sets of
I
that.
did 3 white papers on dyslexia for,
Yeah.
and so that's a sharing paper from shame to fame, because it's always, and the system is always shame. Like you're not successful enough, you're not good enough.
Right.
It's never what you're good. It's
Right.
never the praise of what you. So it's really good, and it's not.
It's great. I'm still not done with the last one.
Yeah. And it's about jobs. It's about how I went through, how other people went through, and how so many leaders are dyslexics and neurodiverse, because you would never have the Einstein or anybody. Einstein was till 8 years old. He didn't speak. They thought he
Right.
was retarded. By the way,
Right.
so
They thought I was too. It's okay.
yeah, me too. I did a test in 24, and I was 2 points above.
Wow.
So that just to show you what the system does, the generalization.
Yeah. Put the label.
Yeah, and so
Wow.
it's actually and that's why when we don't look at one-on-ones, when we say, what can women do? What can men do? What can this race do? What can that? It doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't. We have to do our own
Individual
one-on-oneness,
assessment.
and that's the only one, Tanya. That's the only change that I'm asking,
Okay.
is to look at systems and change from generality, because that absolutely hurts and segregates humans,
Mm.
and to change to one-on-one. No race, gender, sexuality. Get rid of all that.
Yeah.
Everybody's a one-on-one.
Yeah.
And when we make that change in systems, I tell you, the world is another place.
I've seen it firsthand. I know exactly. That's why I wanted to interview you, because I was like, oh my God, this guy speaks my heart. Someone who was an educator as well, I've seen the difference when you take a kid who everyone calls behavior problem, ADHD, all those titles, Asperger, you name it, give me all the titles. But when you take them and find out what they were really supposed to be doing, they're like a whole nother person.
And they have an ability. You have an ability by nature.
Yes.
And if you think nature makes no mistakes, right? That's why she makes us one-on-one. And because you exist, you have a value, because nature doesn't make a mistake.
Thank you.
Because you exist. Okay, I can't any job. I can't get a job. I can't get a girl. I can't get money. I can't. It doesn't matter. It does not matter, because you're one-on-one, and nature made you that way. So you have a purpose, and the education is here to help you find that person. See, now we have AI. How easy would it be for AI to help us and say, I want to find my one-on-oneness, instead of I want to use AI to be better,
Right.
So how can we find an education, if education were just here?
Yes.
Because in companies today, you get educated because nobody believes the education you get, so you get trained anyway.
Yes.
If education was that good, that's what I'm saying. It is not neither system relevant nor human centric, because if it was, you could go out of the school and in 2 days you'd be Superman in the company, and you can't. You have to have training and everything. Yeah,
exactly. That's a good point. Wow, that's amazing. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
So if we could get the one-on-oneness and
Mhm.
education be the buffer, it would be
Mhm.
so. Oh my God, education would be lifted to a thing of magic,
Now you know
where
who does that?
who
I think the Quaker schools.
could be.
No,
I
I've
have no idea
seen
about K-Wake. I have
and
no
and
idea about it.
and some homeschool kids are the two
Yeah,
things
yeah,
modalities I see that I'm like, wait a minute, this is working
yeah,
because those kids appear to be the ones
yeah,
I know anyway, super intelligent, world traveled, which means that they can see a lot of different
yeah,
angles, not just one angle. And I don't know, they just seem way
yeah,
ahead of the
yeah.
other.
Kimberly Crane, that star student, she is totally on the and I wasn't, and since I know her, I'm more and more on the homeschooling, because
Right,
not because the education is so outdated that even homeschooling, you know, it beats it 100 times.
right.
So this is, and it's now a money thing because the people that live off education need to have an income, you know,
Yes,
and they
yes,
don't want the education to get better. But they wouldn't lose. They would be elevated as magic if education would say, yes, we want to find the one-on-one of every human. And then the people actually go into the world and not just starting a job and says, oh my God, I thought I was a veterinarian and I hate it,
right,
you know? So
right.
they would actually know, they would feel with the sports, having done the sports and the arts, having done the awareness and having done, discovered their one-on-oneness. Oh my God, it
Right.
would be the magic. Everybody would pour even more money into education
Yeah.
than now.
Well, here's the thing. That's the catch right there for me. And this is my personal opinion, but I don't think that the actual system itself is designed to make it better the way we're talking about, because it is all based on money, grants, and that's that's all it's about. It's no longer about what can we do for Michael today? Oh, Michael
Yeah,
needs to do more reading. Okay, Michael needs to play
yeah,
so he can get his
yeah,
mind free while he's doing X, Y. That's not what it's about. It's about, oh, welcome, Michael. Let's see. Well, if you give him a label, we'll make more money. In my opinion only. This is only my opinion, no one
yeah,
else's opinion.
yeah,
But as someone who's seen different education modalities and have worked in many
yeah,
types of them, it appears to me that it always boils down to, no one's going to say it outright. We're here for the
mm-hmm.
money. Nobody's going to say that. Come on. I mean, there's teachers that are working
And there's
their
nothing wrong. Is there
yeah,
nothing wrong that you're dependent on your income?
right,
In every
right,
system, you're dependent on your income. You know,
yeah,
and it's. But the sad thing, the systems pivoted to a thing where it becomes primarily the income and not the. That's why I say we need to get the function of education that shifts the whole education into the right direction, not kills the systems.
right,
Shift it in the right direction. Okay,
right,
you get a grant
right.
if you find out and use this to make the kids find their one-on-oneness. Because when you experience your one-on-oneness, you will not just be a lost case. You should be by that age already knowing what is you and what is the other.
Well,
You
the
should
thing,
at least know what is the difference.
right, but that, I mean, and not to give the parents all the slack, but non-slack, but I believe, this is my personal opinion, that that is also on the parents, because like with my kids, and not saying they're perfect or anything, but my kids at a very young age, as young as 8 months, 9 months, whatever it is, I started encouraging and inspiring different things. Let's do art today. Tomorrow we'll do music. Let's learn about Bach. Let's learn about hip hop. Let's sew some clothes. Let's make some statues. Let's, I don't know, wood thing, or let's do cars. I mean,
But that
whatever it
is
is.
also your
Because
culture. That's
yes,
also your culture.
no, I don't think so, because I grew up. I was a foster kid, so I didn't. I mean, my birth family might have did that. They might have did some other stuff, but I knew them. But that's a different story. But I didn't grow. I didn't have that at first. I got some stuff when my forever mom got me. She's the one that gave me the tools and said, she told me very young. She said, "You are a foster youth. I have to make sure you know about everything so that you always have a way to survive and thrive. And you're." She didn't say creative wasn't the word she used then, but she knew I had something special about me. And so she fostered it. She had me do violin. I did horseback riding. I did camp in the Native American camp to learn how to live in the woods. I did I mean, she did every modality you could possibly.
Experience. You lived life. You didn't read just books. You
Right.
didn't just read books. Yeah.
Right. So I was able to discover when it came to me in a real world situation, writing. And I've met Miss Finari. It was like the light bulb went on. I mean, Mrs. Saboni, when I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7, I don't know. What my first teacher before private school, she actually inspired something to me for reading. She's the reason why I love reading. But Mrs. Finari was the one that gave me creative ways to do things. And it was like, oh, this is it. But I still didn't know what it was. But it was when I did find out, when someone said, I need you to write a story, a creative story, and tell a story about such, and I wrote a story that was phenomenal. I was like, that's it. This is what I was supposed to be doing. You see what I'm saying? Or
yeah, you discover your one-on-oneness in physicality.
Yeah.
So you do this and you read the right book, and that resonates with you. But that doesn't mean it will resonate with me. Right. It doesn't mean that. So or you go horseback riding, and I'm doing motorcycling.
Right.
You know, it's, and you don't do it, just you have to get your one-on-one. Is you have to dance with other humans, not just learn and be behind the computer. You have to dance with other humans.
Right. That's how you find
and to find the synergistic fit.
Right.
And when you find that, Tanya, that is the secret nobody wants to say. Yes. It is efficient when humans become efficient. When you can be all that you can be as the one-on-one, then you are more efficient for the system. Then the system knows, when your one-on-oneness, it starts with your one-on-oneness. You figure that. Then you figure the synergistic fit. And then you're the most effective for systems.
Yes, I believe
Rory
that.
Sutherland says that. He says when you hire a group instead of I need one person, when I'm hiring that group, you have better results than hiring the one. I need a manager. No, you hire a whole group, and we're all mixed, everything, race, gender, everything. And then you have the most effective results in systems. But we don't even want to. It's the same as with the education. Systems don't want to think about this.
No.
That's why it's so important for us to start the process with education, so people are not conditioned to never get out of their box.
Right, and that's what they're in a box. But they don't. Some people don't even know it. They have no clue. But I'm just here because for people that are out there watching who are dyslexic, who have labels like ADHD and whatever labels they can put on you, Michael and myself are living proof that you don't have to live by those labels. Even if someone may walk by me and say, she's really hyper. Well, I can tell she has ADHD, but that's their label they put on me. I didn't put it on. I don't put it on myself. And
I think you're spirited. I don't think you're hyper.
That's what I call it, spirited instead of hyper. But somebody else may be rude and say, "Oh, they're." I've had people tell me that. They're like, "Can you calm down?"
But they are offended. They're offended by anything that is not in the norm, in the generalization. Oh, she's this. She needs to be that.
Right.
He is this. He needs to be that.
Right.
No, I'm not anything. I'm not political. I'm nothing. I'm just doing what I feel is right at that time.
For me, exactly.
In the moment,
Well, so how did dyslexia develop your creative process?
Okay, so I was shunned, right? Collectively shunned, and say, hey, he's the stupid guy. He's the thing. He doesn't know. I had no problem with humans to play around, playing cowboys in India and so whatever, but I was the thing. So I was always like we all are when we are adolescents, right? I was very enticed by music, and music. It's like when you want to kill yourself. I didn't want to kill. I'm saying when you get blue, and then you hear a music or you see some art, or you see a film, and all of a sudden you feel normal again because hey, this they have the same. And so I started art. I started DJing. I was when I was little. I was doing tree houses and stuff. We were close to a forest, so I did tree houses and stuff. And then I went into motorcycle, and then I went into DJ. And I was so good in DJing. I I made music for fashion shows. I produced fashion shows. I worked with Robert Evans, who did The Godfather.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I was
Wow.
Newport Beach Arts Commissioner. So, but once when I was 30, I decided. I looked and said, "Okay, I need to fill out a new CV." And I said, "Oh my God, everything is creative.
Mm-hmm.
So I am an artist, if I want or not. I don't have to have accolades like Warhol or something, but
Right.
I am an artist. There is nothing I could do different." And it saved me. It made my self-esteem. I always had a self-esteem because look, when you paint a picture, doesn't matter if everybody says it's horrible. It's
Right.
there's a magic thing in there, Colonel. You painted it. They didn't paint it. They judge it. You painted the picture. You make music, and I'm a musician too. So I made music, and then they said, yeah, but I did a CD. I created a CD from myself. I
Right.
wrote 8 books and published 5. I did it, and that
Yes.
gives you so much
Confidence.
survival power because you think, if I was a waste, if I was not existing according to nature, I wouldn't have done any books, anything. I wouldn't have done 450 guest appearances all over the world. I wouldn't be invited everywhere.
Right. Well, also think about this. What you've done also is you've created a communication resource that normally people wouldn't understand you. But now that you've created a way to communicate is through your music, through your art, through your fashion, through your singing, whatever it is. That is big. Once you discover that, I mean, we're really living, right?
Yeah.
You know. So I think it's brilliant.
That's why art creation is the most important thing. It's not about the product. The product is the icing. If you sell the product, but it's the creation. It's the creation of the podcast. If the podcast is good and is viral, that of course that's a beautiful icing. But it's not about that. It's about the dance that you and I have. I mean, look what we bring in. Tell me, who did a more intense, where it gets to the essence of education than you and I. That we really went. This is a super dance.
Right.
I mean, anybody that even starts want to change something in education needs to listen to what we said first, because you cannot change it if you don't know the history. If you don't, like you said it, if you don't know who started it, you're lost.
Yeah.
So everybody that wants to do something about education needs to listen to this just from our perspective. Not that we are right, not that we are absolute,
right,
but to just think, okay, now I can look at that and make it humane, make it a human thing. And our common denominator doesn't matter if you're a different gender, a different race, we are human. We're both human. That's our common denominator. So
and we all want to belong. We all want to belong.
And we belong anyway, if we want or not. Yeah. I can 100 times saying I need to segregate from you. I can't. Even if I do it. Do you think, we're all connected. But do you think it's gonna make me happy? Right. When I segregate, I said, I can't talk to a girl. I cannot. I'm a guy. Right. No. Yeah. Tell me who feels good about that. This is ego. The ego feels good, but the humans, we are all one. Look at how we are with our animals. We are sometimes nicer to our animals than to humans, because humans are systemized. And humans are systemized. They are saying, oh, you're that gender, you're that race, you're that sexuality, you're this, and you come from this class and that class. Oh, bullshit. Right. We are all 101.
Absolutely. What advice would you give like young artists, individuals who may have these labels, dyslexia or whatever, maybe struggling?
I would say because in the dyslexia is a symptom. Dyslexia is not the cause.
Exactly.
It's a symptom. The ADHD is a symptom of your stress, of you wanted to adapt, of you wanted to be a part of. I wanted to adapt 50 years. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this course. I'm going to do that course. No, find yourself, your one-on-oneness. That's the key. If you find your one, and also remember that nature made you one-on-one. Nature doesn't make mistakes, and there's a reason why you're one-on-one. And life is unveil your one-on-oneness, because when you're an artist and you look at the product, you're lost already. Because if I'm a producer of suits and the suits don't sell, right?
Right.
I'm gonna do bicycles. But an
Mm.
artist has this magical time when he creates, right?
Mm.
And
Mm.
then he says, I have this magical time. I'm totally fulfilled, and I can sell my art.
Mm.
The selling has nothing to do with the art creation because the selling is a commodity. When
Mm.
art is a commodity, like a car, you
Mm.
know, and the
What
people
about
don't like the car,
right?
you can't force somebody to buy that. But it's the magic that when you create something,
Mm.
that is the magic.
Yes, it is to me. The whole process of getting the materials, deciding what it is, and
Yeah,
that's the part.
and
Well,
see what
you
comes
mentioned
out. See what comes
yes,
out. What in avails, because
yes,
that's
and to see who sees it,
exactly. Yeah,
the way
yeah,
you interpret, see that because you're really talking another language, basically. To
yeah.
me, that's how I see art.
Who
But
sees me? Who sees Tanya in her thing? And the thing says, uh, you find more of you. So when I always tell this example because I love this is you meet a person and they say, and let's say you and I know each other for 10 years,
right,
Tanya,
right,
and as Tanya, you said, oh Michael, yeah, I have never told you I'm a singer.
right.
I said, Tanya, I want to hear you sing. I'm a painter. I want to hear you see you paint. And then when you hear the singing or the painting, the expression,
Mm-hmm.
you have a full picture of Tanya. All
Mm.
of a sudden, I don't know anything about you compared when I see what you create in art. When
Yes.
you add to that your creation of art, I
Mm.
am blown away. And I have such a full picture of your one-on-oneness
Right.
because I see what you create.
Right. And you can see through what because that's the thing. That's what connects you or not.
Yeah,
Someone may look at it and says, "What is this painting?" Someone else may look at it and says, "Oh my gosh,
exactly.
I see what they meant by the colors and
Yeah.
what they're trying to represent." And they just go into a whole thesis on this painting. Someone else may say, "Eh."
That's why clothes, right? Clothes.
Mhm.
And in clothes, we accept it. We are not conscious of it.
Mhm.
But when we see the expression of a human with the human that we know,
Mhm.
it's the fullest picture that you can get from that human. There's
Mm.
no fuller picture of the one-on-oneness that you can get with that woman.
Mm. Wow. I love art. I think that in all forms, by the way. So
Yeah,
whether it's music, writing,
me too.
sewing, dancing, even modeling to me was a form of art, even though some people
Yeah,
don't see it that way. But your
yeah,
job was to sell clothes. So
yeah.
you are a hanger, but
Expression,
there is a form to that. Yes, expression when you
expression,
pose.
the expression,
Yes,
and,
yes.
and that's why I say, if anybody wants to dive deeper in this, listen to my podcast. I have my own podcast. It's only
That's right. I
30
meant to tell
seconds.
you. Wait, go ahead. Tell
30
me what.
second 30
Tell me
seconds is the smart of art, the power of art and
the
creativity.
smart
It's 30 seconds.
art. The smart of art.
Yeah, smart of art, the power of art and creativity. If you listen to that once a week or every 2 days, it's like there's 250 episodes already, and they're all me. They're all my thing. It's not taken from Picasso or anything. It's
Right.
my wisdom that came through me in my art creation.
Oh wow! So I'll have to check that out again. But you guys check it out and definitely check out those papers because for me, the papers was everything. Especially if you're an educator, a teacher, definitely check out the papers because if nothing else, you walk away as a teacher, an educator, and a parent. If you're a parent,
Yeah,
you walk away with a different perspective, thinking the next time you run into one of these children you will
yeah,
not belabel them or calling them whatever names they put in the DSM-5
yeah,
to create money and income. You'll be saying, wait a minute, maybe this is not quite the problem. Maybe this is something else.
yeah,
I need to step up my game and find another plan within the districts, whatever, because they have rules.
yeah.
But that is everything because especially I'm an advocate for foster youth because I was one. Foster youth get labeled all the time. And I keep telling people there's nothing wrong with them. You have
No,
to find something for them to do that they like.
exactly. Yeah,
And how do you find that? By introducing them to many things. And
and
if you
find
don't
that
do that,
one-on-one is helping to find that because they are home. They get home not
yes,
by being at a family. They get home to themselves.
Yes.
and that one-on-oneness, and that
Yeah.
makes them safe and not like outlaws. They're not
Yes.
outlaws.
No.
They're outlaws because everybody wants to condition them.
Yes. It's so
You need
true.
to discover, help the other human. Education is to help the other human to find their one-on-oneness.
Right.
That is education in the purest sense, to find their one-on-oneness. Because
Yes.
once that is activated, that person will not do copy, will not, follow crazy stuff. It will
Right.
do their own things, and will be okay to say, no, I don't want that. Oh,
Yes.
come on, have a crack pipe. No,
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
need that.
Exactly. And it's funny, but I used to work in a rehab, and I worked with a lot of young people, and people thought I was crazy. But one of the things I love doing, and when I was thinking of like as far as groups and things like that, so I was always like, well, how do young people, like you're 13 years old, what do we do to ensure that when you go back out on the street that you're not tempted? Like how do we make that look so that
Yeah,
how do you practice for that? Like there really isn't.
yeah,
So I would do a sort of theater-ish thing with them, where we act out two scenarios. You're at a party, and I write down scenarios of what exactly happened. I set it all up, and they had to respond two different ways, and that was just because you have to, when you've been so long doing that, getting high or out doing not,
yeah,
or not thinking, you don't know how to do it. So it takes practice.
yeah.
So if you practice saying, okay, this is a scenario, if I was in this scenario, this is what I would do, and you practice it enough, eventually you'll believe it. So that when it comes up, you're now have a strong enough muscle to say, no, thanks, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And
saying? Or,
also,
yeah.
also, I mean, when you have any neurodiversity, you
Mm-hmm.
can't take drugs. You
Right.
can't take drugs
Oh,
because
it's the
I know.
worst.
So for me, if
Mm.
I never drank, I never did drugs because I
Yeah, I don't
couldn't.
like. Yeah, I don't like them. And now I know why. But
Yeah,
not to mention because of my birth mother, but that's a big reason. And I just didn't want to follow suit. But also, I think it is because of this whatever I got going on that I am not the good candidate for drinks and getting stoned.
yeah,
I'm not. I'm not. You don't want to see me like that. Trust me.
yeah.
It's not a good look for anybody. And that's why, because now you're groggling that creative energy, which will turn to like mush in your brains to
Exactly.
some other garbage or
Hmm.
blah, something.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I totally get it. So bottom line, parents, educators, those who work with kids, even if you work in the jail and you're around young people, find ways to bring out their creative juices. How about
And
that?
the oneness, but find out, say, what is your ability? What are your skills?
Right.
Why is education not trying to find the ability and skills other than saying who is the fastest in math, who is the fastest in this?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, nobody's as fast as any computer AI. So let go of the fastness and enjoy and find your ability. It will be actually, by the way, with AI and the computer, it
Mhm.
will be more important increasingly from now on that you know your ability and your one-on-oneness than
Okay.
anything else, because
Yes. Because
anything that can be repeated, which
yes.
education is, to
Mhm.
repeat a thing which should never be, but it
Right.
is still that AI will do it. When
Yes.
you when it's about repeating a calculation, anything,
Mhm.
it will, AI will do it. They will not, because humans cost too much. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you better look. That's why we have AI. I mean, when I got a computer, they said, "Oh, Michael, what are you going to do with all your time and the money you make because you have a computer?" I said, "I have less time now and less money."
Mhm.
Because the computer, it was a lie. It makes us better worker bees, but it
Yes.
didn't make us
No.
more fulfilled or happy, or
Yeah.
actually really show what we can do.
No.
Everybody is a superstar. Every one human is a superstar if they
Yes.
find their one-on-oneness.
Yes.
And
Because
that's
even
what
when
education should be.
it should be absolutely. And AI can only do it can do a lot of things, but one thing it cannot do is creativity, in my
Exactly.
opinion. Even
Oh,
the
totally.
pictures that it draws are horrific. and you do them and you accept them because you're like, and the companies are making you do this stuff. But if you take Picasso and then
Yeah.
tell the AI to make a Picasso, I'm going to suspect that I probably feel like this is not somebody who did this original work. That's just my opinion.
I did. I did a lot of articles also on LinkedIn. I have like 70 articles, and I did one where I ran my art through AI. You should
And what
see
happened?
what came out. It was
Oh no.
horrible. It just
No, really?
and I showed both. I showed my and then I showed the AI, and
Wow.
it's like, oh my god, it's just
But
so weak.
some people are, and this is people I call, they're not really, what's the word? Not readers. They're not really checking things out on all perspectives and all things.
Yeah.
Art, whether it's art, fashion, doesn't matter. So they can be tricked easily. Most people today can be tricked very easily. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I saw this African couple, and they looked beautiful because they were like this beautiful dark brown. They look beautiful, yes. But as soon as I saw it, I said, this is so impersonal. And
Yeah,
it's so
it is.
not
I know. I
real.
know. That's what I say. It's
Yeah,
totally
it's not
impersonal.
real. They don't look like a real couple that I know.
Yeah.
And as beautiful as it may be, the concept of this beautiful brown couple, it's just not giving me
It's
anything
not
personal.
real. It's not
Yeah,
real
yeah,
because it's not real because what AI does is the sampling of what's supposed to be beautiful, like big boobs,
right,
yeah,
right, right,
beautiful eyes,
right,
beautiful, and it takes that and it puts it together. But
right.
it is the whole thing of the one-on-one is that makes you vibrate. And if
Yes.
it does never vibrate. It's a mixture of vibrations and it never vibrates.
Well, that's a good way to say it. AI can't vibrate.
Yeah, it can vibrate right.
It can
You know,
generate, but it can't vibrate.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. It can generate, but it can generate patterns.
Yeah.
It cannot. You know.
Wow. Well, I really learned so much today. And guys, if you get a chance, go to his website. I'm sure that will lead you to the articles, right? That will lead you to
Yeah,
the,
you can. Yeah, or
yeah,
you go on LinkedIn, put my name in, or where
yeah.
everything. My website gets you everywhere.
Yes, yes. So make sure you go check it out, because I'm sure everybody at this point, after September 11th, and then now with the war going on in Israel, with all these things going on, I'm sure a lot of people would be labeled with some labels if we was to go back into a doctor right now and get a diagnosis from a psych, because there's so much going on in the world. And but I say this, one thing, one way to learn to focus is through art, and that doesn't mean just painting. That means writing, reading, sewing,
Yeah,
organizing. That's art.
just
Things.
read. If you are not if you're not motivated or
Mhm.
passionate to create, just
Mhm.
read my 30 seconds. They're just
Yeah.
things. They're just read them and see if they're not triggering something in you to
Mm.
start creating. Because there is no right or wrong art. Art
Yes.
wants to be created and exposed. If I create it and expose it to you, that's all art wants me to do.
Yes.
Create and expose, because the expose gives you the feedback of the other person, or
Right.
your grandmother or whatever. And I think it's not just creating art and not showing it. You have to
Right.
show art,
Yes.
because it's like you dressing up to go to the opera and then you
Hmm.
don't go. It's like
Right.
the complete is you express it to one person, your child, your mother, whatever, and you create it, and that's all art wants.
Right.
It doesn't say you need to have $50 million sales or
Right.
anything. It wants to
Right.
just be inspired, created, and exposed.
Mm. Wow. So you heard it, guys. I hope that you will please go to his website, check it out, and just look around. Definitely look at the white papers; they're amazing. And that's maybe because I'm an educator. But if you're a parent, especially if you're a parent who has a child who's getting these labels, who you see is a little bit, Tommy just won't sit still in this class. I don't know why he won't sit still or she won't sit still. I can guarantee you there's probably some creative juices flowing around in them and no one's discovered it. And that's why they're
Yeah,
acting up.
yeah.
So this is why this is important to me, because I know kids who would have gotten labels, and these labels follow them around for the rest of their lives.
I know.
The
And what's
self
the
confidence.
opposite of depression?
Yeah.
Expression.
Yes. Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah. So you got it, guys. Just do me a favor, share the video. Not because I care about ratings, but because I care about people, and I
yeah.
care that somebody,
Humans.
yes,
It's
humans,
about
somebody.
humans. It's nothing about it's nobody. It's
Nope.
all about humans.
That's it. That's it, and that's all. At the end of the day, we only have each other, and if we can't learn from each other, we're doomed.
Yeah.
So
And we have to take our power back from the systems and not
yes,
give up. Oh, the system will help it. Where is the system with retirement? Where's the system with all the stuff? System
yeah,
always changed their whatever. You can only trust other humans. That's
right.
the only thing that you can do.
That's all. That's all. That's all you can do. So, guys, make sure you do us a favor and go check out Michael's site, and check out the papers. That's everything. I will tell you. You know, I don't. I don't. I mean, I read them quickly too, so that's how good they are. And because I'm big on what can we do to help our kids who are our future do better than we did. And one
Yeah,
thing we can do is foster more creativity. Now, when I say
yeah,
creativity, get scared and think, I mean, we're going to be painting all day long. It just means that you will recognize that the child with ADHD that's not paying attention, that's all over the place, that's getting in trouble, that's bullying people, needs an extra lift. And you have to know as a parent, as a caregiver, as a teacher, as an educator, whatever you want to call yourself, you have to identify that immediately. Because if you don't, it gets stuffed under. We get the bully, we get the guy in jail, we get the person that's doing crimes, and the person that's not being nice. That's who we get. We don't get any Picasso paintings. We don't get no great thesis papers. We don't get no new science discoveries. You know, we lose. A society loses when we don't have a person reach their full potential, in my opinion. So
yeah. And
that's
the
why.
suicide. The suicide is
And
also
oh,
so
the
much
suicide.
suicide now.
Oh, I
The
know
kids,
two that
because
did
they
last
don't
month.
fit
It's
in,
horrible.
and
Yes,
it's not
horrible.
about fitting in. You fit in automatically because you're made by nature. You're one on
Yes,
one. You
yes,
don't have to fit somewhere in a system. In a
yes.
system, you don't have to fit. You dance synergistically. You go to this dance course. You go to
Mm,
that dance course. You try this, and when you try, like you said, you try a lot of things. I was studying classical guitar for 2 years, and I
nice.
couldn't. I could because of my. I have dysgraphia too,
Okay,
so I couldn't do anything. I have no four chords in two
okay,
years.
okay.
I went percussion, and I
Wow.
could instantly be. I made a record. I was invited to everybody, and I
See?
was
And that
thinking
means I gave up.
I will never play an instrument because it's not just for me. I will just play records, and then I found the percussion, and because just percussionist was sick, and they said, Michael, you're good. Just do a little percussion, and I
Right.
did it, and it was just natural.
And
It's
see,
the
that's the thing.
natural. It's not a struggle. It's not a
Mhm.
striving.
Right.
It's natural. What come and then you know you are and your ability and your skill. It
Yes. But that's so important that you didn't give up, or whoever's around you, parents or whoever, they didn't let you give up. Because imagine if you would have just picked up the guitar, it was horrible because you couldn't figure it out, and then you're like, I hate music.
that's what
So
I
if someone
thought.
said, okay,
That's what
well
I
then,
thought, Donnie.
yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought I will.
See,
I like music, but I will never be a musician because it's too hard. And
see
then
that's
at a party, somebody says, "Hey, the percussionist got sick. Got really. He throws up in the back. Can you just, do a little bit?" And I was thinking the people were clapping and say, "Oh my God, this is awesome!"
right. Wow.
There's,
See, I'm so adamant about this because I think as an adult, all right, whatever. But if we can catch the kids,
yeah,
especially in the education department. So teachers being more alert than even the parents because they're with the kids
yeah,
8 hours.
yeah,
Knowing and spotting these things is important. I had someone in music class, Miss Olson, I think it was. Maybe I wasn't the best pianist because I wasn't paying attention,
yeah,
but I love singing. I love singing, and I was good at singing. So you have to be able to spot when a kid is doing that and not label
yeah.
them or cast them out as bad. And that's what this show is about today. So I hope you learn something. I hope you share it with somebody because trust me when I tell you, I know plenty of kids, not only in Westchester but all over, who have a form of their these labels that they're getting, and some of them may be a pinch valid, and the other ones is probably still because they didn't find their gift or their calling.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and less you can find it because it's cheaper to generalize humans. It's cheaper, So the less people will nobody is a mentor anymore. Nobody. It's just because it's like, if I generalize them all, okay, you got to get the SCTs, you got to get this, you got to get this, and then and so that's why you have the suicides. It's just there's no mattering, and mattering you can only be if you're Taylor Swift. No, that's
Right. And
you know
that's another one to dispel too. Some parents, you may have kids, and I know plenty of kids who are super talented, and maybe they tried one way and it would found out not everybody can be a Beyonce, nor should you want to be a Beyonce. You
exactly.
should
She's
be
with
able to,
her.
right. And you might have to go down to all the local pubs and sing every night for the next 20 weeks to make your money, to make your career, to make yourself
Yeah,
feel like you're doing your art. It can be that quote unquote small and still be effective, because you found if it's what you're meant to do, you're just gonna love doing it. And I say don't give it up, even if you didn't do it right the first time. And this is to someone who I love dearly. I pray for you, and I hope you'll get better, Jess. But even with my young people who like to sing, like to rap, if that's what you like to do, discover another way to do it that's not within the constraints of that
exactly.
made it bad for you or made
Unique.
it
Your
hard.
101 way. Your way of doing
Yes.
trip hop.
Yes.
If you want to do trip,
And
I don't want to. I want to only do trip hop.
right.
No, if you want to do trip hop, they do your own. You
Right.
know.
And you can do anything today. There is no limit. There is no, well, there never was, but we thought there was. But
Yeah.
there was no limit. I see this guy now. I forgot his name. I forgot his name. And he was like a street kid, got into gangs, blah, blah, blah. And he turned his life around and found God. And now he's doing the most incredible hip hop ish gospel that I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life. And
Yeah.
I love music. When I tell you, I
Yeah.
love music, I love hip hop. But this guy, he's still keeping it legit, but he's just putting his heart into it and his spiritual being into it, let's say.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Who would I know people said that's not gonna sell, man. It ain't never gonna sell. Look at this guy. He is a number one guy right now. A
Yeah.
number one guy.
And
Why
that's the
do
icing.
you
It doesn't
refuse?
mean that he has to be number one,
Right,
but he has to be fulfilled. It has to
right,
be his passion in it. I
right.
mean, and look, how can you like Erica Badu, right? How can you like? She's totally against everything. She was rebelling. She was all, but she
Yeah.
was herself. But
Yes.
what? He
Right.
was himself. He
That's
peed
yeah,
at
yeah,
pictures. He took
yes.
heroin. But he was. That's the one-on-oneness
Yes.
of every artist. That's just what
Mhm.
art shows us. You know.
Yes. Yes. Find your gift, guys. Find your kids' gift. Don't stifle your kids when they're little, 2 and 3 years old. Stop stopping them from painting. If they
Yeah.
say, I mean, I'll give you an example. If I see a kid who wants to draw on the wall, of course I won't let him, but I'll
Yeah.
say, here's some paper, here's some pen, non-toxic pens or colors, whatever
Yeah.
you want to do, and we're gonna do some whatever today. Figure out what that is. If they like doing this or if they like doing lines, then think of an artist and think of like, okay, how can we make this into a project? Just to foster the idea that it's okay to draw, but on paper, not the walls.
Yeah.
Because if they were meant to be a graffiti artist, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Then I just stop that by saying, don't you do that,
Yeah.
right? But if I say, okay, we cannot draw on walls, but we can do is draw on paper, you can draw on cardboard, we can draw on canvas. You see what I'm saying? Now you done changed the whole trajectory
Yeah.
of what that thought is. So that it may be nothing. It may be just I just wanted to do it. That's fine. But we have to stop at a very young age,
Yeah.
stifling our young people, because I think we're born to go into these gifts, but our parents unintentionally stop them.
Yeah.
Oh, don't do that. No, you can't do. I need you to go to
Yeah.
school and be a judge. I don't want you to be a musician, right? We
Yeah.
just no, 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 and we have to start fostering environments that allow for creativity and for individualism.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of calling these kids names or whatever you want to call them, say, okay, well, this one, it's hard to keep them still.
And
But
the hyper
yes,
kids, right?
yeah, I was one of
If you
them.
let them express them, I say, you have a hyperactive kid, give
Mhm,
him crayons and let him express them.
mhm.
Full blast, say, come on, here's 20 papers, just express yourself. Whatever comes out, then they get feedback from their creation, physical creation, about their feeling
Yeah.
inside.
Yes.
That calms them down. takes the depression away,
Yes.
and it makes them see, I hate you, mommy. I hate you this. I hate it. So paint it,
Right.
speak
Right.
it, yell it. And when I see kids and they're crying, I was a host in a lot of restaurants, and I say that that's good for your lungs. Keep yelling, and they stop. The moment you
like
allow
me.
them to express, I said, this is really good for your lungs. You good. And
You sound like
they just stop. And they
no, they
say,
look at you
use
like
magic. I said, no, this is not magic. This is logic.
this.
Let them express.
Right.
Their spirit is young. It wants to come into the body. And you don't let him express that spirit.
No.
You kill that person.
Yeah, you do. I see it now as a parent and as a person who now has wisdom, getting
Yeah.
older. I didn't see it way back. To be
Of
honest,
course not.
it takes a long time to figure this stuff out. But together we can figure it out, guys.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys share the video. If you know anyone that's got these labels, anybody who's got kids, please share the video with them. I think it will really help them. I really do. I'm saying that as a former educator, as a person, as a mom, as a friend, whatever. It will help. So, Michael, hang out with me while we say goodbye to everybody. I
Yeah.
thank you guys. I see you out there, Donna, Tanisha, Yvonne, sending your prayers out to Just. I know you're going to do it, man. You got this. You got this. Another creative in the building. Grandma, I see you. Tony, thank you very much for everybody. I can't see you on YouTube. Sorry about that, but I appreciate you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Hang out with me, Michael.
Thank you.
Bye.